About a year ago, or just a little bit more, I was asked by a Polish car seat company called Avianaut to come to Poland to speak at a car seat conference. I was really nervous. I'd never been asked to do anything like that ever before, nor had I ever done it, to speak in a big hall full of 100 people. A little bit scary, but I did it. I got on a plane to Poland with my PowerPoint presentation and stood there and held my talk in front of all these people. It actually went quite well. And then I was just thinking the other day, it's actually a little bit of a waste to have this PowerPoint presentation sitting on my laptop and not do anything with it. So I've reduced it down quite a bit because I talked about lots of other stuff, not just rear facing, and it went on for about half an hour, which is way too long for a YouTube video. But there were some bits in there that are relevant just to rear facing car seats. And I just thought, actually quite a good idea to put something together as a YouTube video. So I've made a little slideshow and I'm just going to read out the bits of the speech that go with each picture. So here goes. So why are rear-facing car seats so much safer, and why should every child stay in a rear-facing car seat up to 25 kilos until they no longer fit? Children's skeletons are very different to adults. A newborn baby's head accounts for 25% of their body weight, whereas an adult's head is only 6% of their body. A small child's skeleton is also not fully developed yet, so the neck and spine are not strong enough to support their heavy head in a car crash. This picture shows the bones of the spine known as vertebrae. We have 24 of them, and the black and white photo shows the vertebrae of a 1-year-old on the left and a 6-year-old on the right. The 1-year-old's vertebrae are still made up of 3 little pieces of bone, but by the age of 6 they have fused together to form a solid ring around the spinal cord. It takes about 15 to 20 years for the skeleton to fully mature. The development of the skeleton happens at roughly the same rate in all children, no matter how big they are. So just because a baby is big for their age doesn't mean that they are any safer in a forward-facing car seat than a small baby of the same age. When a forward-facing child is involved in a frontal collision, the body is held in place by the car seat's harness, but the head is thrown violently forward. And because the head is so heavy and the neck not very strong, this can cause very serious injuries. In Sweden, nearly all children travel rear-facing until they're at least 4 years old, and they have done so since the 1960s. And this has meant that the number of children who die on Sweden's roads has consistently been close to 0. This is my second son at 3 weeks old in his Britax Two Way. This was a Group 0 car seat that only rear-faced up to 10 kilos, and at the time this was the only rear-facing limit that was available in the UK until the introduction of Group 0 Plus up to 13 kilos in 1995. And this is my fourth child, who was born in 1998. Her car seat was a Britax Club Class Extra, a Group 0 Plus car seat that did rear face up to 13 kilos, and she stayed rear facing in it until she was 15 months. She probably, with hindsight, could have stayed in it longer because I don't think she weighed more than about 10 kilos at the time, but she's 22 now and I had no idea. In 2011, I had my 7th baby, who was very big for his age, and he actually reached the 9 kilo minimum forward-facing weight at the age of just 5 months. Now, I knew that 5 months was too young to go forward-facing, so I started looking for a bigger rear-facing car seat for him. And that's when I discovered extended rear-facing car seats for children up to 4 and even 6 years old. To my surprise, rear-facing car seats up to 25 kilos had actually been around for quite a few years, but they were not easy to find, and like most parents in the UK, I had no idea that they existed. So I bought my big baby a Britax Hi Way. His older brother and sister were 3.5 and nearly 5 at the time, and they had both been forward-facing since the age of about 1, but as soon as I found out about extended rear-facing, I bought new car seats for them too. Initially, I was very happy to have made this discovery, but I soon became quite annoyed that it had taken me so long, and quite angry that this information wasn't widely available to parents in the UK and the rest of Europe. So I did lots of research into rear-facing car seats. I started advising other parents on Facebook, and eventually this led to me starting my own rear-facing car seat business, which I named Rear-Facing Toddlers. The following pictures are from a presentation that was published in 2008 by a European consumer organisation. This research project includes real-life case studies and shows pictures of crashed cars in which young children were seriously injured or killed. These children were all in forward-facing car seats, and the presentation concludes that had they been in rear-facing seats, the outcomes would have been very different. The presentation includes pictures of the insides of the cars after the accidents. These pictures show that there was little or no intrusion or damage to the car's interiors, yet the children were still injured or killed, which can only mean that the seats that they were in failed to protect them. I know it's quite old, but the information is still just as relevant today as it was in 2008. This crash happened in the UK. The picture shows that the crash was relatively minor. There was no damage to the inside of the car or to the car seat, which was forward-facing. The child was just under 6 months old. Despite there being no apparent head contact and no fracture of the skull, the baby suffered a bleed on the brain and swelling of the brain. She died 3 days after the accident. This was not a very severe impact, and there was no damage to the inside of the car where the baby had been sitting. If she had been in a rear-facing car seat, it is anticipated that she would have survived without any injuries. This accident happened in America. The crash was not very severe, and again, there was no damage to the inside of the car at all. There were 2 children in the car, a 2-year-old in a forward-facing car seat with a harness, and an 11-month-old in a harnessed rear-facing car seat. Despite there being no sign of head contact, the forward-facing 2-year-old suffered a serious neck injury, but did survive. The rear-facing baby only got a bruise on the forehead. The child passenger in this car, also in America, was a 3-year-old in a high-back booster seat. There was no intrusion around the child, and he weighed 17 kilos, which was more than the seat's legal minimum weight. The child suffered multiple injuries, including to the brain, neck, lungs, and abdomen. He died at the scene of the accident. The study also looked at the circumstances in which restrained children in Sweden had died over a 7-year period. The only children who died in rear-facing car seats in Sweden were in very serious accidents that no car seat would be able to cope with, which includes serious intrusion, fire, or drowning. These accidents are generally referred to as catastrophic and non-survivable. But the children in Sweden who died unexpectedly in circumstances where they would have been expected to survive in rear-facing seats were all forward-facing. The study concluded that keeping children rear-facing until at least 4 years of age offers advantages over forward-facing car seats. It stated that the R44 weight group classification does not give parents the best advice by implying that forward-facing from 9 kilos is safe, when studies clearly show that this is not the case. This is a picture of my youngest son, just to show that some very big babies reach the legal minimum weight when they are still far too young to go into a forward-facing car seat. He is the reason that I now do what I do, because I knew that even though he was legally heavy enough for forward-facing, he was nowhere near old enough. The new regulation should require manufacturers to develop rear-facing child restraint systems for children up to 4 years of age or height equivalent. That new regulation eventually became R129, also known as I-size, which was introduced in 2013, 5 years after this presentation was published. The majority of rear-facing I-size car seats go up to 105 centimetres, which is the height of an average 4-year-old. The seat in this picture is rear-facing only, but there are lots available that can be turned forward-facing from 15 months. It's a small step in the right direction, but I don't think it goes far enough. I would like to see the whole of Europe follow Sweden's example and not make forward-facing car seats so easily available. Until every child rear faces until they are at least 4, but preferably 6 years old, I don't think that we will see a reduction in the amount of children that are seriously injured and killed on our roads. So they were the bits that I picked out of my PowerPoint presentation that I thought were quite interesting to put together as a YouTube video. I hope you found it interesting. Please subscribe to my channel, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below and I will answer them as soon as I can. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.